On our agenda, Deputy Chairman and the management team here present. It is with great pleasure I address this August gathering today in fulfillment of our committee's mandate in order 20 Rule 68 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives 1132, which authorizes us to oversight the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, and all the agencies under the ministry. You are aware that this is the beginning of this 10th Assembly. This will be the first oversight visit of this committee on the agency, and in view of the fact that the 2025 budget estimate will soon be presented to the National Assembly, and in order for the committee to do a thorough job on the budget of the agency, there is the need to pay this visit. Again, as earlier stated, that this will be the first visit of the committee in this assembly to the agency. It will also be used as a familiarization visit in order to get acquainted with your activities, your modus operandi, your relationship with the ministry and the other agencies, your achievements, challenges, and a possible way forward. Permit me to remind you that the principal duty of this committee is to ensure the smooth operation of the agency, and which is through budgeting and oversight. Hence, at this meeting, the performance of your 2024 budget will be looked into, which will influence committee's decision at recommending what is appropriate for the year 2025 and including 2023 performance. Thank you.
Deputy Chairman, honorable members, the NOA team. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the National Orientation Agency, and I'm pleased to meet many members actually for the first time. I know a few we have met previous visits to the house. So you are welcome home. This is your home. Without you, there's little or nothing the agency can achieve. And I would not go into reading extensively into the speech here. I will speak more to it, so if you permit me. I was appointed on the 19th of October 2023 by the gracious efforts or decision of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and on Monday, 23rd October, I assumed office. And as we all know, same opinion I had before I got here, that NOA was not doing anything. And despite the importance of the agency, to this nation, not much was going on. And we thought the personnel were up to nothing, useful. But within 24 hours that I got to this place, I had a reason to change my opinion. The first thing I discovered was that the personnel well, very committed Nigerians, very patriotic, and who actually have the competence to do what they need to do. But in spite of that, the agency was completely down. And it was easy to see that the issues were beyond them. The agency had been abandoned for over a decade by successive government. And the first thing we needed to do was to go around the country to assure them that we have a new sheriff in place. The president is committed to the unity and progress of this country, and that the president would do the needful to ensure that the agency is able to play that role of providing the intangible service like the agency is supposed to provide. We know we can build the most beautiful roads, bridges, railways, schools, health facilities, and all of that. But without good citizenship, all this will go to nothing. As they say from the part of the country where I come from, that the mansion that we build, the child that we did not build will destroy and sell off the mansion. So it is better we build the children so that they can build even better mansions. So we need to build Nigerians to build Nigeria. And that is the task, the mandate that NOA has. And by the special grace of God, the responsibility that we have as honorable members of the committee of this important sector to ensure that we are able to deliver. So we got them to have hope, to renew their hope. And the next thing was the issue of budget. As you all know, you are the one who has both the knife and the yam. You could see that this committee was given, your committee was given nothing to write home about, and it's what you are giving and you're going to pass on to us. So the 2024 budget was virtually nothing. We had a total of 330 million for the entire capital projects. When we say capital in NOA, we are a program agency, so I need to also reiterate that. Our capital is program, various programs that we carry out, not physical projects like a road, house, housing, and all of that. So, well, 330 million. If you give that to one TV station, it would not last them 2 months. Not to talk of all the things that we have to do across the country. But I had no reason to be worried because I knew what the president had in mind. I knew what instruction he has given, and I knew the support would come. But I also understood that we needed to show that we were capable, of delivery whenever the resources are made available. So the first thing we identified, which this committee is supposed to be at the forefront of in terms of knowledge, to be able to assist you in further supporting us. And we are going to get to the stage of working together on updating ourselves on how you also will be very conversant with what we are trying to do as the people that are going to give us the support. So we discovered that Nigeria has been making efforts over the last 4 decades to galvanize the citizens to be patriotic and to have love for the country. And it has not worked, because if it has worked, we will not still be where we are today. If we go back to the mid-80s, we had hand rule, please don't check us. It was an effort to get Nigerians to commit themselves to the country and be patriotic. Over the years, we have Nigeria Good People, Good Nation. There was a campaign that ran for several years under our ebullient, now late, Dora Akuyi. We also had, of late, Nigeria Change Begins With Me. So we had to do a study to find out why didn't all this work. There must be a reason why. And we didn't just want to embark on noise making. Just make another round of noise, throw mantra and slogans all over the place. And then after 4 years, another person comes and then also throw his own slogan. I guess the challenges remain. So we did a study, got all the experts together, And we discovered that the past efforts were lacking in two things. One is that all campaigns had been directed only at the citizens, asking them to be patriotic, to sacrifice, to do this and that. The leadership has not come to the table with its own, part of the commitment. And it cannot work because it takes the two sides to be committed to build this nation. So that was the first thing we discovered was missing in the previous concept. The other thing we discovered was missing was the fact that even when they had the concept, there were no institutions that were created to nurture Nigerians on those values. So the concept ended up like another document in the shelf. So we said these two things we must address. And so we gathered November, December, January, people from different sectors to work on what we now call the National Identity Project. We discovered that it is not possible to galvanize citizens to be committed to a country where even their identity is not defined. If you ask all of us now to define who a Nigerian is, we write different things because there's no definition of who a Nigerian is. And citizens of every country are unique. Americans are not British. Ghanaians are not Nigerians. Japanese are not Koreans. The identity are clearly defined. But for us, our identities now are still our regional ethnic identities. We have not been able to evolve a national identity that would cut across no matter what tribe or religion or divide that you come from. So we find there must be a national identity that is clearly defined. So for us to be able to answer the question who is a Nigerian, and every Nigerian will say exactly the same thing. And it is then we can now know who will say you are not a good Nigerian because if it does not fit into that definition. So it is under the National Identity Project that we also now have what we call the National Values Charter. And the charter, the values that we are talking about, cannot be about the citizens alone. It must also include the leaders. So the charter, as you know better than us, is an agreement, which means there are two parties involved, and that is the leadership and the citizens. So the charter is between the country and the citizens. So on 27th of January, the blueprint was presented to the minister, and we felt it is, if we had embarked on the campaign on our own, we will be flying, with the capacity of an helicopter. If we wanted to take off as a jumbo jet, we needed the Federal Executive Council to be fully involved in it, and then we needed the National Assembly to be fully involved in it. So because of that, we took it to the Federal Executive Council, and they graciously approved the National Identity Project, the concept itself. They approved the National Values Charter, and the components, which are two components. The first one is what we call the Nigerian Promise. The Nigerian Promise defines the promise that this country has made to all of us as citizens. We here broadly belong to two or more religions. You find out there is no any religion, whether Islam or Christianity. Even God himself made a promise to get our commitment. If you do this and do that, you will end up in heaven. So Nigeria has not made a promise to the citizens. And in other countries of the world, you have the Red Book of China that contains the identity of the Chinese. And the promise of the country is there. You have the American dream that defines the values of America. The exceptionalism, liberty, pursuit of happiness, they are all encoded there. The same thing you have in France, you have in one of us, you don't have there. So that's the essence of this National Values Charter. So the Nigerian promise has 7 pillars. These are the 7 things that this country has promised every citizen. By the time you look at it, they are the same thing that you have in Chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution, which is already clearly stated here. but has not been brought out in a way that we can do social orientation with it. So, on the flip side, we have what we call the citizen codes. That is what citizens also are going to give back to the country, which has made a promise to us. So this also has 7 pillars. Once those of us who find ourselves in this position that we all occupy, we are actually acting on behalf of the country. And it's our responsibility to keep these 7 promises that the country has made to the citizens on behalf of the country. And for the citizens also to keep their own 7 commitments, which we call the citizen codes of conduct. Once a Nigerian is fulfilling this code, then it is living true to the definition of a Nigerian citizen. So that is the definition, that's how you now know. So somebody can come to me and say, NOA, you are not keeping the Nigerian promise. And out of the 7, you can tell me especially area where it is failing. So because we have an identity and it is clearly stated. So this is what we have done, and then we have the fake approval, and then we are working with the Attorney General to now bring all of these things into our act for amendment. I have mentioned that to the chairman of both the House and the Senate, that we will now come back to the committee so that our act can now reflect all of these things, and then we'll be relying on your support to be able to get this through the system and for us to have a proper definition of who a Nigerian is. We now felt we have this document, we have the concept, but how would Nigeria abide these values of this 7 for 7? We call it 7 for 7. The country is giving 7, the citizens are also returning 7. So we call it 7 to 2, and that will be the campaign, the mantra that we will be throwing. We are going to live our life in this country on the concept of 7 for 7. So, but where are the institutions to nurture Nigerians to be able to live on these values? One, we also identify 7 institutions of nurturing, if you like, indoctrination, because we have to be indoctrinated on the values so that they become part of us. These 7 indoctrination processes or socialization processes, if you like, namely, we find out that in schools, those days, many of us here learned what we call civic education, where we learn values, where we learn ethics. That is no longer taken seriously in this country. So the first thing we ask for as one of the institutions of nurturing is what we call citizenship study, to be a compulsory subject from primary school to university, so that throughout the educational career of an individual in Nigeria is learning those values that will make it to be a proper Nigerian. So this was part of what we took to FEC, which was approved, and immediately the Minister of Education invited us. We sat down. The curriculum from primary school is read, and they will soon announce that it is a compulsory subject in primary school and secondary school, where history, values, and ethics will be learned as compulsory subject. So when you leave the university and they give you a certificate which says you have been found worthy in learning and character, that is the character aspect of it. So as the youth of today say, that means that citizen has been properly cooked. It's coming out as a proper Nigerian who understands the requirement to be a Nigerian. So that is the first institution of nurturing. The second one, which we are also all familiar to, those days we used to have Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, Girl Brigades in schools. These were voluntary institutions of nurturing, where leaders were raised, model citizens were created, but somehow all these things were no longer taken seriously. So we also proposed to the tech to have what we call citizen brigades, in primary and secondary school, that through which we are going to produce model citizens who are going to be modeled to their peers, and then we raise them as new Nigerians who are the early adopters of these values. So, which graciously was also approved by FEC, and it's part of what we are bringing to you for your further assistance on that. So we intend to start with 37,000 brigades, 1,000 per state, so that in the next 3 years we have millions of Nigerian youths who are members of these brigades, who are living their lives based on the 747 values. And if you look at it, honorable members, in the last 3 decades, we have left our children without any guidance, both as parents and as government. And we didn't present heroes for them, because when you are growing up, you need heroes, you need models. We didn't present for them. So they chose their own models, they chose their own heroes. And the Gen Z, especially that we have today, are a good example of what we have produced. So they are victims. We cannot blame them for whatever we think they are doing that is not the way in line with our values. So we need to address that. And this is why we are bringing the citizen brigades, to create models for them amongst themselves, and for them to also learn from that. So over the next couple of years, that will. The third one, and because of time, I'm not going to the seventh, it's in that document, and we are still coming to you. And we are also planning a get-together with the honorable members of our committee on all of this matter eventually. So, so the third one, age 1 to 16 in this country spend average of 5 to 6 hours daily watching cartoons. And the cartoons as of today are 99.9% foreign content with foreign values. Many of the values are completely at variance with our ways of life. And parents are so busy that they think cartoons actually keep their children busy, but they don't know the kind of content and indoctrination that they are undergoing. And that is part of the result that we see. Our lifestyle, that is of our children, are completely different from the one that we know of. No matter what ethnic group, the lifestyle of our under 30s are completely, not the, and all kind of societal ills that we have are product of this. And even now, the issue of LGBT is fully integrated into these cartoons. So our children are watching all of this, and they are growing up with it. And if you watch the children at home from age 2, 3, 4, 5, when they start speaking, their vocabulary are taken straight from cartoons. They want to wear costumes they see from these cartoons. Even the economic aspect of it, is also there. So we also call for nationalization of cartoon content, which we also proposed to FEC, which was approved. And we said in the next 3 years, we are going to have 70% of our cartoons in this country based on our own values. The 10-year-old boy in Ibadan can tell you about New York because he has seen New York through Spider-Man, and he has never left Ibadan. Even his parents have never left Ibadan. But he doesn't know anything about the people of Enugu with whom he is going to be citizens of the same country. So he has never met them. But he's meeting the Americans through cartoon and imbibing their ways of life. So this is why we felt we need to also work on it. Yesterday, I had a meeting with the executive secretary of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, because they are going to be the one to regulate and promote it. But we don't want to ban anything. We want to work with the members of the National Assembly to encourage local productions. We need to produce our own content to fill the space. We can't just say go away without having our own content. But today, we are producing less than 1% of the content required to fill the space in this country. So that's one other one. Permit me to just mention a fourth one so that I go into other things because of time. The fourth one is that anyone who is appointed into government office, whether as senator, House of Rep member, DG, minister, wherever, once the announcement is made, you should, part of the retreat should include a reminder on this value system as a compulsory thing. To say, yes, you are now going to be acting on behalf of the country. These are the 7 promises this country has made, by which you are supposed to operate. and that's supposed to be our lifestyle. That was also approved, but it cannot work until we have the approval of the National Assembly, and that also cannot happen until the committee goes into that and work with us. So I do not intend to completely talk about this today, since we are going to have the opportunity of a get together with members, where we are going to all work on this together. So permit me to move to other things. Do I have your permission?
Right.
Okay, thank you. So that, as far as the National Identity Project is concerned, we've started the campaign in some way. You will have received some things on TV, but because of resources and because of due process, we are not able to do full deployment. 2025 is an opportunity for us to work with you to be able to have the kind of required, resources to have the kind of deployment that will make all this to work. When we also came in, modern communication, I've spent 34 years doing nothing but communication. So modern communication, every institution, and that includes the National Assembly, includes the House of Rep or Senate or any other institution for that matter, you cannot and you must not rely 100% on what we call the third party media. Every media, the social media, this day, the Punch, the Arise, the channels are all third party media. When this committee issue a statement today to the media, they have what we call the power of anchoring and framing. They take what they think should be the most important thing there. So when you see the report the following day, may not exactly represent, if you were the one pushing it to the audience. So you must also establish your own direct means of communicating with your audience. So when we got here, the first thing we did with the limited resources we had was to have our own internal studio that we can fully produce our own content, both radio content and TV content, so that we can deploy directly to the audience without ignoring the third-party media. But at least we are in control of the kind of content we release. Nobody will edit it, nobody will frame it. So we have a functional TV studio, which, with your permission, we will show you when we finish this program. We also find out that we are in a country where age 1 to 35 constitute 76% of our population. Let me repeat that, sir. Age 1 to 35 constitutes 76% of our population, which means we are a youthful country. If you take it to 45 years and below, that's 93% of our population. So all of us, those of us here who are above 45, will constitute, till the oldest person in this country constitute 7% of the population. So any policy that is not youth-centric and focused cannot work. And this youth also, we must also understand their profile. They are technological people. So without adequate and modern technology, you cannot relate with them. So the part of what we have done, and in this country I can say that clearly, that it is NOA, no agency of government has the kind of technology that we have within the last 1 year here. We operate now using artificial intelligence. That's what we are using to operate and relate with the youth. We have engaged a lot of influencers we are working with. On your various phones, you can actually ask about anything this government has done, including that of the National Assembly. You can go to noa.gov.ng, and that's what we call clean. The clean lady is somebody that can have conversation with you as if you are talking to a human being. And you ask clean to tell you about any policy of government, and he will tell you. You can ask about the National Assembly activities, he will tell you. So Nigerians can know wherever they are in the world, have conversation with claim and get. And you can also do that by even asking the question like you do on ChatGPT. Put a question and it will give you answers. in text that you can print out and things like that. So we have that. Our AI intelligence also allows us to see our staff from all parts of the country, and we know exactly where you are. So if we want to report from all the 774 local government today, and we put the questions there, the templates there, they get the report, and it will come in, and the system will analyze and put the graph, put the chart and everything, and will print the report out. That all across the country, immediately. So we also have collaborator module on that same AI intelligence, AI tool, which allow us to have representatives from all the MPAs on what we call content basket, where we all meet and they drop their content, what they are doing in their own institution, for us to have easy access to information to be able to deploy. That is also, we are not talking of plans, we are talking of what we are already using and we are still developing. So let me go into the round of just 2 minutes more. I mentioned clean. Let me talk for 1 minute on clean. Clean is spelled as CLH EEAN. CLH EEAN is our acronym that capture all our activities in NOA. C stands for crime. All issues of crime come under the C desk. L stands for lawlessness. All issues of lawlessness come under the L desk. H stands for health. All health-related issues come under H. The first letter E stands for education. All issues around education comes under that. The second letter E stands for environment. All issues about environment comes under that. Then the letter A stands for abuse. All forms of abuse comes under that. And then N stands for nationalism. All issues that we have been discussing about the value charter and all of that comes under N. That's how clean came about. So lastly, our budget performance. Like I said, what we had in the 2023 budget, we had a total of 8,819,470,967 naira. Again, 8,819,470,967. The breakdown: personnel cost. Personnel cost is 8,056,952,596 naira. 8,056,592,596 naira. Overhead cost: 431,456,116 naira. Capital and program cost is 330,562,000 naira 255. So that's the breakdown. So you could see that the personnel cost is almost 95% of the budget that we had. So of this 330 million, the overhead expenditure, we have 35 million monthly as overhead to run 812 office locations. The headquarters alone, by the time we talk of electricity, diesel, all the other operational costs in the headquarters, 35 million naira is nowhere to be found. And that's where you also pay, because this agency started in 1988. So the last 3 years have seen to exit in hundreds of people who are clocking 60 or 35 years in service. So, and it has been depleted, which also comes with the implication of pay reparation on almost on daily basis. I get 4, 5, memo or reparation. So all this go with take away the cost. So the 35 million is not even enough for a state office, not talk of for the entire 812 office locations, 774 local government, and then 36 state and FCT and the headquarters. Then the capital program, as we have said, 330 million. For overhead costs, we have done about 75%. Remember that in November and December, we have not gotten that. It's done monthly. So, for capital and program execution, we have achieved 80% of that. And it's contained in the document that you have with you. We still have a few more things to do before the end of the year. Just about a month ago, we mobilized all our offices, the 812 office locations. All the directors here travel up to 3 states, up to 4 states. And we had stakeholder engagement, we have advocacy visit to traditional rulers and all of that. If you look at what we plan to do, budgetary constraints have been a very big headache. Now, we had intervention from Mr. President. Unfortunately, that came just like 3 months ago. But as I speak to you, we are still battling with the Ministry of Finance over how to get that sorted. It's not just only us, it also involves some other agencies in the sector, including the ministry. So we are still fighting hard for them to make it a priority to get this across, because we can do a lot with that money. Then we also have shortages of staff. We have shortages of staff. The staff that we have, from 7,000, which was the establishment approval, we have only 3,635 now. And then when we don't have offices, or even this office does not belong to NOA, we are here just at the mercy of FCT. And all our 36 states, only 5 states belong to us. As this morning, I got a report that because Kano State has been threatening to throw us out of the space we have been occupying since 1988. And today I got the information that somebody appeared yesterday to say he has bought the place. So we are still waiting for that. Lagos did the same thing, but they were kind enough to help us pay 3 years rent somewhere else, which we are managing now. So that's the kind of experiences we are having all across. So far from the intervention, we are at BPP for many issues, trying to ensure that we follow due process. But because we're also a program agency, we have a number of programs we have earmarked that we want to embark upon. And next week, Monday, the management will be sitting to approve all these programs, which also include the one that I said, they get together with the members of the committee. That will be ratified by the management on Monday, and then we'll begin to work on what has been released to us so far. But the bulk of it, we don't know how much of effort will also help us to get the Ministry of Finance to be able to get this money to us quickly before the end of the year to have that. We are also aware that we have money in the supplementary budget, which is 10 billion to our knowledge, but as of today it has not appeared in the platform. And so our effort shows that if that is correct, that all of the supplementary budgets have not been uploaded, and the year is coming to an end. So we don't know what effort the National Assembly also can do to ensure that the supplementary budget that was passed is also made available to the MPAs so that we can be able to work with that. We are also aware in that supplementary budget we have another 3 billion, which is also not available to us because it doesn't appear where we're supposed to be able to access it. and it's the same fate that all MPA's supplementary budgets have not been uploaded. If that information is correct, we don't know what assistance can also come from your end. But the good news is that it is not the NOA and NET that we have now, in terms of even resources. But we are far away from where we want to go to. We are better off now. We are in the news. We are doing a lot of things, but we can do better. So we made a recommendation. We wrote to the Minister of Budget. From what we have seen, and if you look at all the programs I mentioned, even under the Badmus Charter, you cannot have 37,000 citizen brigades that are going to kit. You are going to provide training. You cannot, all other issues around that, the 7 social processes. We proposed to them that we will be needing about 81 billion, 828 million to 571 and 428. That's what we proposed, and we are in touch with our chairman also to notify them. And I most especially appreciate the House of Reps. This is up to 3 times that we have had cases when they move motion about why NOA should be attended to. And the last one was particularly very touching. And we are aware that it has been passed on to the committee to work on. And we are also preparing our documentation to be able to assist you in arriving at why we need that quantum of resources. Maybe during question and answer, we'll be able to touch on other areas so that I don't take too much time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the management, for the wonderful presentation. Honorable colleagues, please permit me to use this medium to appreciate the DG and his team for the wonderful work they have been doing. Because from time to time we have been communicating, so I used to be brief about every development that has been going on here. When the DG assumed office, I came here for visiting, including Honorable Tigani, who happened to be a brother to around there. So we were here, and I know how we met this place then. And I can see what we met here this morning when we came in, that there's a great improvement, coupled with other programs that have been going on within the country. I know that it is not up to what we expected, but at least there is a great improvement compared what it used to be in a year or two before this time. Because nearly every week I used to receive kind of their weekly publications, which are normally forwarded to the platform to for every member to read. So thank you, keep up the good job. And then from our end to whatever that needed to be done, we surely try and do that. Honorable colleagues, please, I don't know if there will be 1 or 2 other members that we have questions and answers session. Thank you.
DG, for your wonderful presentation. That shows you really through communication, but it took you a lot of time to explain in details what you're doing. I listened to you very carefully, and I was able to extract some issues. You know, most of the times when most agencies here of the National Assembly, the first thing is that they are biased about National Assembly. But as a members of the committee, we are stakeholders. We are here to see how we can help you in moving from where you were before to a better level. So most of the times when agencies hear about National Assembly, they are already biased about us. But that's not the case. Just like in your presentation, there are issues you have tabled where you need our input, and that's why we are partnering together. So that is that. Then on the issue of your agency, just like you said during your presentation that before you were appointed DG, you had the impression that this place is not doing enough. I think that's still the perception of many people, that you're not visible. You're not visible enough. Yes, but having listened to you, in my own view too, you're doing something, but you're not visible to the public. You understand? So visibility is key to what you do. If based on what you have read out, you should pride yourself to let the people know what you're doing. If not that we're a member of this committee now, we would upload all the things you've done, like the clean, except our chairman who most times when you see such things, they do share the platform. But you need to be visible to the public. Like for instance, in terms of in your claim, you have crime there. Yes. Let the citizens, or especially the youth, know the dangers of getting involved in crime. They don't know. Most of them get involved in kidnapping, ritual killings, but they don't know the implication. Their friends can tell them this is the rich get rich syndrome. You need to really do something about it. Very, very, very important. The get rich syndrome. You know, these days, most youth don't want to work, they don't want to read it, they believe in getting quicker money. Have you done something about that? You've not. Honestly, so you need to do something about that. Let them know the dangers that you can only get rich through education and hard work. That is on the part of citizens. Because you said there are two mantras, citizens and leadership. You understand? Because I listen pretty carefully. There's a lot you need to do. Also, on the issue of leadership, which is where me and you fall into, you need to also do a lot about responsibility. When you're doing responsibility, you should make an impact. Just like as a member of the National Assembly now, I'm not saying it to praise myself. I'm making impact in my constituency. So you need to also have a program whereby you let anybody given responsibility authority what they need to do. Just like you said, you have 7 mantras of what is expected of the citizen and 7 mantras of what is expected of leadership on the other side. We need to see all these things come on board. See, so then finally, on a lighter mood, during your introduction on your management this thing, there should be a youth wing.
A youth wing?
Yes, because my DG, you are the light of the nation. You understand? Because most of these crimes you're talking about is within the youth. Me and you at my age, I will not go and commit crime. You understand? There should be a youth wing. Among your, I did not see anybody within the age of 35 to 45 years. I know experience counts, yeah, but there should be a youth wing. You understand? So for me, we are here to partner together. We're here to advise you and see how you can better this organization. You owe this country a lot of duty to project what we are known for. Back in the days, we have lost those values. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
My one is a concern.
Federal constituency that has least numbers of staff at the federal level. So I just want to know if even have 1 or 2 members who are your own staff, who is Goa West Federal constituency, who are the least in the whole country. There has been Benue. Where is Goa West? No, I'm not talking of Benue, I'm talking of my federal constituency. Whether we even have 1, because in most places we go, we don't have. So it's something of concern to me. Yeah. Thank you.
I remain Achuadu Adibo Igadifarati. I want to commend you on your presentation. Basically, I want to talk about STI and AI. You have talked much about that, and I want you to focus more on STI, Science, Technology and Innovation. And AI. This is the way to go now. I want to appreciate you for that. Thank you very much.
The signal I'm getting here, they are feeling that since the chairman have spoken and spoken very well, we may not need to say something, but I just want to encourage the DG. When I count and I saw the number of directors that you have, and I look at your capital budget provision and the overhead, I know that they are not enjoying as directors, and maybe with you even as a DG, that's the honest truth. Because we know a director in some agency, I think the whole of your running costs may be their monthly impress. So with the zeal and the passion you have for this agency, within 1 year, I think you need to look deeper into how you can lobby with the chairman and the National Assembly to see how you have a very good budget so that you deliver the vision that you have for this agency is well commendable. One other thing is technology is very expensive. With the issue of AI, other applications, they are very expensive to buy softwares and other things. So everybody will reason with you when you post your budget. Everybody should agree with you. And also, I want you to next time we should know. You complain of lack of staff. Actually, when I saw the provision, the budget you have for the personnel costs, and you see the number of staff we have, they have not agreed. It's too large for this kind of number of staff. So I think you have excess budget in the personnel, which ideally is supposed to have more staff. Like you say, the recommendation was 7,000 plus, and you have only 3. When there are a lot of graduates out there on the street without job. So these are areas that you also need to work, because it will also improve the image of the country when we have less unemployed Nigerians. And you should also know, in all the propagation you are doing, the promoting government, that Nigerians are suffering. That's the truth. So you work on that too, so that you reduce their pressure and suffering through good policy that the government are doing. Because there are a lot of things that are going in agency of government, like in the central bank, you see they are giving some support for small businesses. The people in the village don't know all these things that are happening. So assuming you have a desk officer in all the agency of government, where there are new projects that affects the masses, the people, then desk officer will report back to you, and you will also transmit it to Nigerian. They will go and apply, they will assess, and it will reduce also the suffering of Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You allowed the DG to speak a lot, so I don't think I've done wrong. Thank you.
Colleagues, the only addition I will just mention has to do with the nominal role. So we like to have the nominal role. Then what is the plan you have in place for the recruitment of new?
I will move that this meeting resolved to executive section. I so move.
Ayuba has ordered the meeting to move, and I will sit down and discuss it between us, not with the press. What's the start of the meeting?
I have an
Amendment.
call for the meeting to be disturbed to this.
Okay,